Good afternoon. Welcome to the first of our daily media briefings leading up to the November 5th election next Tuesday. I have a few quick remarks before I address the questions you sent us. First, I want to note that tomorrow, October 29th, is the deadline to apply for a mail ballot. I urge anyone considering voting by mail to apply right away online at vote.pa.gov. At this point, time is short, and the sooner you apply, the sooner your mail ballot will arrive. The deadline to return your mail ballot is 8 p.m. on Election Day. County elections offices must receive ballots by then. Mail ballots returned after that time, even if postmarked by 8 p.m. on November 5th on Election Day, will not count. It's got to be back at the Board of Elections office by 8 p.m. on Election Day. For voters applying in person at their county election office, the deadline is also tomorrow. You can apply for a mail ballot, wait while your application is being processed, receive your ballot, complete it, and return it all in one visit. You may encounter a line at your county elections office. Please be patient with county election workers. They are working around the clock to ensure that everyone who is eligible to vote can vote. I also want to remind voters who vote by mail to sign and put the current date on their outer return envelope so your vote can be counted. To date, about 2 million mail ballot applications have been received and approved by counties, and about 1.4 million, or almost 70%, have been returned. Now I'd like to address two recent election news stories out of Pennsylvania. Regarding the fake video purported to show mail ballots being destroyed in Bucks County, it is fake. Anyone who has experience processing mail ballots or knows anything about election administrations can spot it a mile away. Unfortunately, disinformation like that video can do great harm in undermining voters' confidence in election results and discouraging people from participating. That is, after all, the whole point of such disinformation and election lies. I urge voters to be informed consumers of election claims being made online and on social media. You should rely on trusted sources of election information, such as your county election office and the Pennsylvania Department of State. I thank the Bucks County Election Board for their response and our federal partners in the FBI and the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency for quickly investigating and identifying the source of the disinformation. I also want to applaud the work of the Lancaster County Elections Office in identifying what they perceive to be potentially fraudulent voter registration applications and turning them over to law enforcement to investigate. This is a sign that the built-in safeguards in our voter registration process are working. We still don't have a lot of details about these applications, so it's important we not rush to judgment. We hope for a speedy and accurate conclusion to the investigation and hearing from the county. I want to note that grassroots efforts to register voters are an important part of our electoral process. No eligible voter will be denied the ability to register. I encourage Pennsylvania residents to check your voter registration status online at vote.pa.gov to ensure the information is accurate. As Lancaster County's efforts show, multiple safeguards exist to ensure the integrity of our elections. Pennsylvanians can have confidence the November 5th election will be free, fair, safe, and secure. And now I'd like to answer questions we received from the media. First, we had some questions about the mechanics of these daily briefings. Yes, there'll be daily briefings on Saturday, November 2nd, and Sunday, November 3rd. And it's our intention that these daily briefings all start at 1 p.m. But if there's a change in that time, it'll be noted in the daily media advisory that we send out. Several reporters asked what my biggest concern is with this election. I'm concerned about the amount of election lies out there, mis and disinformation. Last week, we even had nuns in Erie falsely accused of perpetrating voter fraud. As I mentioned earlier, disinformation is designed to discourage confidence in participation in our electoral system. And we expect it will continue to spread in the coming weeks. So voters should be on alert. We're asking voters to get and verify election information from sources that they recognize and trust, such as their county elections office and the Pennsylvania Department of State. We have a fact-check page on our voter information website at vote.pa.gov. And I urge voters and the media to visit it to check the accuracy and validity of election claims they come across. A reporter asked whether the state could deploy manpower and resources to counties to help count mail ballots. The counting of ballots is the county's responsibility in the election code. To help the counties with the process, the legislature passed and Governor Wolf signed Act 88 in 2022, which provides $45 million in funding to counties through yearly grants. These grants can be used for additional staff or additional equipment and resources to assist them with the work they do on Election Day and beyond. Most counties have accepted grants. And as part of the terms of those grants, they must announce on their website the unofficial number of mail ballots received or announce it by 12:01 a.m. on the day following the election. So at around midnight on election morning, counties are required to report to the Department of State the total universe of mail ballots they have yet to count and had received. We also expect fewer mail ballots than we had in 2020 when we were in the middle of the COVID pandemic. Any counties now have 4 years of experience with mail ballot voting, which none of us had in 2020. The first time any of us were experiencing that volume of mail ballot voting. It's important to remember that we don't call races at the Pennsylvania Department of State. You and the media do. And of course, the closer the race, the longer it takes the media to call the race, as it has always ever been, with mail ballots before mail ballots. And we have a question about security measures that we've taken at our for county election offices. In an effort to further our commitment to ensuring the safety of those on the front lines of our democracy, the Shapiro administration created the Elections Threat Task Force earlier this year. Members of the task force, which include federal, state, and local security, law enforcement, and election administration partners, meet monthly to maintain clear lines of communication and share information needed to mitigate against threats to the election process and to protect voters and our poll workers and our polling places and election workers from intimidation. The task force ensures operational actors are at every level of government are working together so that if any official receives a potentially credible threat, all task force members understand which agency should receive that information and have an established contact at the appropriate agency to ensure a quick response time. Voters should report instances of voter intimidation to their county board of elections and their county district attorney. Voters should also report them to the Pennsylvania Department of State at 1-877-VOTES-PA or 1-877-868-3772. The department also has collaborated with our state and federal partners to provide a number of security trainings to counties this year, including those on the topics of swatting, de-escalation techniques, and continuing operations as they currently are to prevent them from being disrupted. We encourage counties to take advantage of physical and cybersecurity assessments offered by CISA. Several counties have engaged CISA to perform such assessments. Counties should also be coordinating with local law enforcement, their district attorney, and when necessary, the Attorney General's Office on Security Matters. Finally, we have a question about the court admonishing the Pennsylvania Department of State for our handling of the Cornell West ballot rejection. We are pleased that the federal district court declined Dr. West's last-minute bid to cause confusion in this election. We appreciate the court moving quickly in rendering its decision. Regardless of the court's commitment, our comments with respect to the Pennsylvania election law, which I respectfully believe is incorrect, the court reached the right outcome. One of the dangers of such last-minute litigation is that courts do not have adequate time to review the law in making their decisions. The Commonwealth Court's comprehensive analysis of this matter, affirmed by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, shows that this provision of Pennsylvania's election law is fully consistent with constitutional requirements. Thank you for your time today. We appreciate the media's efforts to get accurate election information to the public. I'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. for our second daily media briefing to answer more of your questions. Thank you.